Well, this is a little unusual for Victoria. Had several inches of snowfall overnight, which is kind of neat at a marina. Never had snow on the boat before. I guess I'll be getting a shovel or a brush or something. Anyway, I'm going to go up and shovel off the ramp at the marina ramp here because it's slippery as heck. It's kind of nice. I sort of miss snow. Anyway, cheers. Because one of the first things to do is to take down this gnarly old residential curtain rail that was on here when I got the boat. Well, it also had some curtains on it which were equally gnarly. It's been the support since Christmas for the Christmas lights that I have up here 24/7, and I like them, so I may actually tuck them up here under the ceiling battens for a while. But I do have to get the ceiling down before too long to be able to clean and scrape that properly. But anyway, I'll be so glad to have this gone. Okay, well, welcome back. We've advanced this project a little bit. Scrape and scraping and scraping. So I've got, well, not all everything around the forward windshield here because I can't get to it just yet. But I've scraped all down through here, all down through, and removed that cabinet, which was, I think, original. But it certainly didn't suit what I'm going to be doing. And I learned a few things about the boat. I knew at some point this corner had some trouble. Rot is what I mean by that. And I can show you outside why I know that. And now I've learned a little more about it. You can see here the original mahogany side cabin sides had been cut short here and some lesser wood put in there vertically, as well as this bulkhead, which is mahogany plywood, had been cut back, and some lesser Douglas fir plywood has been added in here, probably because this corner was rotten. This piece here is also, I don't believe, original. Although it's mahogany, I think it's the Sapel mahogany. And one of the reasons I can tell is this miter up here on this original piece. You wooden boat types will be annoyed with me that I don't know what that's called, but it's basically the transitional piece to the deck beams. But anyway, there's a miter up in there for a much smaller piece that would have gone down in that corner at one time. Anyway, so some of these repairs are done well, some not so well, so I'm going to have to do some work in there, I know for sure. I think I may have mentioned on the outside, when I worked on the outside anyway, all the window trim is not original. It's done relatively well. It's done in a relatively soft wood. It was routed in place, I believe. Again, done okay. Some of it has come loose, and there's a few places where I have to put a few more screws in. I'll put some bungs in them to make sure that they hold together. In behind where this cabinet was, there's a multitude of things going on. Well, of course, there's the power inlet, the shore power inlet, which I'm going to move into the cockpit. So that'll go, and they'll need to be a little Dutchman fixed into that. This is a cowl vent, one of those half cowl vents that's on the side of the cabin sides, and it'll probably be revised a little bit. This aluminum tank is actually the header tank for the engine, the header for the cooling system, therefore pressurized cooling system pressure. It's attached to a deck fitting for filling. It's not ideal, but I can't do much about it while I still have this engine. I could relocate it, I suppose, but I'll have to cope with that for a certain time. And this plumbing is the shower plumbing for the head, which is just after here. There's a multitude of wires and other things hanging down in here. Haven't finished cleaning up in here. There'd been a little locker underneath this locker down in the bilge space, but this will all come out and be rebuilt as I rebuild the bilge and rebuild this area here. Now the electrical panels. The boat had been rewired in about 2005 by a house electrician. Did a pretty good job, really, but not a great job. And I certainly don't want the panel here because this is now underneath my future galley. So I'm going to rewire the whole boat. More on that later. So that's coming out. And behind here, oddly enough, is a big insulated aluminum water tank of some sort. It's got a deck fill, and it says water on it. I'm not sure what it's for. Maybe it was an early water tank. It's not that big for a water tank, but who knows. This sort of staircase was useless. Was better for wine glasses. And there's a bus heater down there on the hot water. All of this is going to be modified and taken out, and different things going on. So that's why I'm not bothering to strip any of that. This cabinet is partly original. I think from here down is original. It's not the most elegant, but I do believe it's original to the boat. It's mahogany ply and moderately well made in the 1950s style, which sadly doesn't suit me. I love 1950s style boats, but not cabinetry. The upper section, which is the bar, may be original to the boat, but isn't original to this location. You can tell it was just sat on top of here and screwed on. This is kind of a mess. And in fact, to make it work, I had to cut holes in the floor and put a false floor in this cabinet for the wine bottles. Anyway, so that's coming out. That's coming out now. I can tell you, it's not much fun taking these cabinets out because it's a bash and smash. And well, I've done plenty of that in my house construction. It's never fun. Anyway, that's enough information for now. Bash and smash this thing out of here. Finish scraping in there because I can reach there now, and half the boat will be done. Well, except this side, but that'll be pretty straightforward. Cheers. Okay, let's get this thing off. I chucked some screws out, and I think there's just one or two more. Oh, that just fell out, that one. Yeah, so as I said, I don't think this thing was here originally. In fact, I can guarantee it. Oh, easy. Poof. There we go. I have a bar that I can put somewhere else. Let's just put that there for now. This will be a little harder. Wow. You can see original mahogany, lots of holes in it. Shame. I think this is going to get bashed and smashed, as I said. So, well, let's grab the doors. I'm not throwing those in the water, I'm putting them out on the dock. Now that is solid mahogany. I might hang on to that because that is a reasonably sweet piece of what may be genuine Honduran mahogany, which is not so easy to find today. So I'm going to put that aside. Wow, that's pretty much opened up. I'm going to leave this for now because pounding and whacking at stuff that could be screwed to a rib would not be wise. So I got to be a little more judicious over here before we do any more. Let's call that done. Pull some nails out. Cheers. Alright, let's see if we can get this last bit closed up. Whew. Arm's length up over your head. Lots of fun. I don't know if you can see from there, but actually, this is the original mahogany. This is Douglas fir. The front windshield was repaired some time ago, all in Douglas fir. Solid, not plywood, which is nice. And they did a relatively good job. It is Douglas fir though. Outside, I've just stained it and varnished it and called it done. I mean, I'm not going to worry too much about trying to match grains. Inside, same deal. By the time this is restained and varnished, I could care less that it's not mahogany, because I'm not going to replace it. This also is not original. It's either sapele or a wood that I used to use for flooring when I built houses, babinga, or one of the other names of it. Very, very dark, very, very tight grain. Another one to glue back in. Now I gotta be careful I don't round that edge off. Oh, to be about another foot taller. The solution for that is standing on something. Oh, I think that's enough for today. You've seen plenty. Cheers! Okay, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Taking off the vinyl wallpaper, I'd always thought it was some kind of light veneer or door skin or something really light in there over the old original bulkhead. But around the port light, which I took out, there's another layer of plywood, and it may just be a plywood ring to make the bulkhead thick enough for the porthole, but because it sort of seems stiff here. Other than that, it could be just that the veneer is delaminated. Anyway, it's ugly. It's not going to be pretty anytime soon. But I'm glad to be done with this. See ya. Okay, so this is really disappointing. As I suspected, there's just a ring of plywood in here, and this cheap veneer, probably door skin or something equivalent, has been added over the bulkhead, which has had some major repairs. If I look in there, I'm seeing some spruce plywood. If I look up here, I have another piece that's been bolted into the old deck beam. I already mentioned that this is obviously not new. This, whatever this material is, it's a very dense, I don't know what it is, maybe it's like a fiberglass board. It's got a brand name on it, I'll Google it. It's obviously not new. Splice up here, the original Doug fir plywood. This looks all new, but relatively well done. Over on the other side, it hasn't been so severe, because I think that's original. This still is dark from water damage. Anyway, worse yet, this horrible veneer goes underneath this member here, this, which I think now is only a trim piece because it's loose, and it is finish nailed through this veneer. Yuck, yuck, really not enjoying this. So I decided to pull some more vinyl wallpaper off in a more rewarding manner over the original solid bulkhead, which might clean up reasonably well. Wish me luck. Yeah.